Hi everyone, I'm Logan and welcome back to L&L's Onshape Beginner Series. In the last video we learned how to create 2D sketches, which is the foundation of every 3D model. And today I'm going to teach you how to take those sketches and turn them into real 3D shapes using 4 extrusion tools. Number 1, Extrude, 2, Revolve, 3, Sweep, and 4, Loft. And finally, we'll look at Boolean operations to combine and subtract solids. Before I show you that though, you need to understand what extrusions are. So, what are extrusions? Extrusions are the processes that take flat sketches and turn them into 3D geometry. Think of them like stretching, spinning, sweeping, or blending your 2D profiles into solid shapes. Onshape makes this really easy with a few powerful tools. Let's start with the simplest, which is extrude. So, here's the part studio we were at last time. And let's say I wanted to make this logo 3D. How I would do this is I would go to Extrude, or I would press Shift E and it'd bring up the Extrude. What you want to do is now you want to click the profile that you want to extrude or the sketch that you want to extrude. See, I'm hovering over this and the entire thing is yellow because when I click this, all of this will be under the extrude. Now, since these aren't touching, it's going to generate as separate parts. However, let's say I just want to make this rectangle. I can go in and deselect this and only select the triangle, or not triangle, rectangle. And now we have the rectangle extruded outwards. And since there's no other 3D object in our part studio, and there is no other 3D object touching the rectangle, it is going to come up as new, which is what we want. This will show you what is being extruded, which in this case is a face of the sketch 1, which had the rectangle and the letters. This will show you how large the extrusion is. So if you want to change it or make it larger or smaller, you can either drag or you can type it in here. This arrow right here will make it go in the opposite direction. Or starting offset will allow you to add in an offset from the sketch. So there's a 1-inch gap between the actual sketch and where it's extruding, and you can make this in the opposite direction too. Symmetric makes it extrude equally on both sides of the sketch. So now since it's 2 inches, there's 1 inch extruded in that direction and 1 inch in that direction. Next up is revolve. So if we want to revolve something, we need to create a sketch first. And the easiest way to show revolve is through a semicircle. So I'm going to take a 3-point arc. I'm going to make sure they are equal. So this is a semicircle. And I'm going to make sure these points are vertical to each other. And then I'm going to create a line going through this area. And this is going to be very important because this line will act as a revolve line, bringing this arc around it. And it's easiest to show you that with the actual revolve. So you press Shift W or that button here, and then you can select what you want to revolve. And then this is why we needed that line. And this is the revolve axis. So we click this as our revolve axis, and we will create a sphere. And you can see it's new once again because there's nothing touching it. And then the revolve type can be in many directions. You can have it in one direction, and you can have that however much you want it. So I had it full, so we had a full circle, but you can have a half circle or a 3/4 circle or whatever type of circle you want. But for right now, I'm going to change it back to full. And then symmetric is the same thing as symmetric in the regular extrude. This just makes a 3D object with the angle of extrusion or revolve around the same on each side. But I'm going to keep it at full just for simplicity right now. So Revolve is really useful for symmetrical parts like pulleys or vases, and I will show you that right now. So if we get this front right here, and I click View Normal Sketch Plane, and I'm going to zoom in on this part, and let me create a 2D version of a vase. Let's say it's going to look like this. I'm going to quickly make sure that these are parallel, so this doesn't affect anything. And I'm going to make sure these are vertical. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Revolve menu. This is what I want to be revolved. The revolve axis is going to be this, because this would be the middle of the vase. And now we have a tiny little bowl or vase. Neat, right? So that was Revolve. Now we're going to move to Sweep. Sweep pulls a profile along a set path, and this is really great for modeling pipes, tubes, or wires. So I'm going to show this by making a little pipe almost, and we're actually going to tie this in to our little bowl right here, because let's make a faucet for the water. The first thing we want to do is make the path that we want our sweep to go through. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to set this line here, and it really doesn't matter how large you make it. And then I'm going to make this arc on the end, and this will be the curve of our faucet. And then we're just going to be done with the sketch, and that's the path we want it to take. Next, I'm going to get what we actually want extruded made. So we want a circle here, because our faucet is going to be cylindrical. And now we're just going to complete the sketch, and then we're going to go to this button here, which is Sweep. And like the Extrude and Revolve, the first thing it wants is faces to sweep. And we're going to click this, and this is going to be our faucet. And then we're going to go to Sweep Path and choose the path we want our faucet to take. So first we want to click this line, and we want to click this line. And then look at that. We have a cool little faucet to go into our bowl. Finally, Loft. Loft creates a solid by connecting two sketches or faces. And this is great for handles or aerodynamic parts. And I'm going to show this by quickly creating a pyramid, almost. So I'm going to start with creating a square base. And this is the square. And next, I'm going to use this button to create a plane above the plane that I just created the sketch on. And Loft can go across two different planes. Like you can go from top to the front face, and you can make it curved or whatever you want it to. But for simplicity, I'm going to make the plane parallel to the original plane I had, which was the top. And now I'm going to need a circle, put it right over here, and I'm going to call that done. And let's say I want a 3D solid that has the base of a square, and then it turns into a circle. Well, that would be really hard to do with the regular extrude. I would have to extrude a rectangle like this, and then I would have to cut away using the remove tool until I get a circle. But it's a lot easier with Loft. If you go here, you click square, and then you click the circle that we made, and we have the same shape I wanted. Now, if you've noticed, you can actually see that there, besides new and add, there is a little bit more. There is a remove tool, and I'm going to show you how that works. So let's say I want to create a sketch on the side of this, and I want a hole running through this. I will show you this by using the center point circle, and I would draw a circle where I would want the hole to be, and then I'm going to press extrude, and then I'm going to go to remove, and it's going to take away that section that I sketched. So now there is a hole through my cylinder, or through my rectangle. And this goes the other way too. I can click add and extrude the cylinder out. So I can either look like this, or I can go like this. Okay. Besides creating shapes, you often need to combine or subtract solids. And you can use extrudes like I've showed you here, or you can use Boolean operations. There are 3 types of Boolean operations: union, subtract, and intersect. And union creates 2 solids, subtract will remove the area from another solid, and intersect will only keep the area of the 2 overlapping solids. This is useful when you have 2 new parts. So it's going to be separate parts and you want to combine them. So I'm going to take this, the extrude we had in the cylinder, as a way to show you guys. So I'm going to go to this extrude, and I'm going to click new. And it's going to be very weird because as you can see, they're intersecting. But now I'm going to go to the Boolean operator here, and I'm going to click it. And as you can see, there's union, subtract, and intersect, like I just said, and tools. I'm going to click both the parts, and it's going to combine these parts. As you can see, it's one part, all of it's orange. If I hover over this part, it highlights the entire thing. As you can see, black lines, yellow lines, the entire thing's highlighted. And let's say I wanted to get the hole in the middle back. Well, I will go to Control Z, make these separate parts, go to Boolean, I'll click subtract, and then I will click the cylinder for the tools and the target for the rectangle, because that's what we want to create the hole through, and then we'll create the hole back. Now, intersect is very interesting, and I will show that to you right now. If I press Control Z and I bring this part back, and I go to Boolean, and I hit intersect, then if I hit both of these parts, it will only keep the part that was intersecting. Like, this was part of both the cylinder and the rectangle, and now it only keeps that, because that is where the 2 areas interlapped. Well, nice job today. You've learned different ways to take your 2D designs into the 3D plane using techniques like Extrude, Revolve, Sweep, and Loft, and you've also learned how to use Boolean operations. Until next time, and I hope this helped, and thanks for watching. Real quick before ending the video, I wanted to say subscribe so you don't miss any of our free content here on YouTube. And if you're looking for a better way of learning 3D modeling, look in the description and you can see the website for L&L 3D Modeling's paid courses. We have ones for beginner all the way up to expert for learning to 3D model. Anyways, that's my last word. See you all in the next video.